Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary. Your Excellency, thank you for hosting us in your beautiful country. I'll start with you. A quick question. I think the Secretary had mentioned Solomon Islands. Solomon Islands entered into a security pact also with China last year. Tonga has one of 3 militaries here in the Pacific Island region. So can you talk about whether or not your country is exploring deepening its security relationship with China, whether or not a security pact similar to the one the Solomon Islands started last year is on the table here, or whether or not you've chosen to align more with the U.S. and its regional allies like Australia? And for you, Mr. Secretary, 2 questions if you will. China's President Xi Jinping removed his hand-picked foreign minister after less than 7 months on the job. How might this impact efforts to build on the recent progress you made during your trip to Beijing last month?
I will start we recognize Solomon Islands sovereignty with regards to the security arrangement or agreement. We haven't had any discussion on actually having such an agreement in place. Our relationship is basically right now about developing issues such as infrastructure development and so forth.
Vivian, with regard to China, of course, it's China's sovereign decision to decide who their foreign minister is. Qinggang was ambassador to Washington. I got to know him when he was ambassador. I had constructive conversations with him in his role as foreign minister, and I wish him well. But I've also known Wang Yi for more than a decade. I've met with him repeatedly in my current capacity as Secretary of State, and including, as you know, just recently in Jakarta. And I anticipate being able to work well with him as we have in the past. We'll continue to engage him. We'll continue to engage other Chinese officials. As we've said, it is important for us to manage this relationship responsibly. That starts with diplomacy, that starts with engaging, and I will work with whoever the relevant Chinese counterparts.
Mr. Prime Minister, you mentioned just now your shared commitment to freedom and democracy shared with the United States. The outgoing president of Micronesia said in March that China had been engaging in political warfare in his country on a range of issues. Looking at your debt situation, among other issues, I was wondering if you feel China is doing the same thing in your country, and how worried are you, separately, how worried are you about conflict between the United States and China in your region? And for you, Mr. Secretary, to get into this building today, you had to walk under a sign that said China Aid. This building was built with a grant from the Chinese government. We've seen signs of Chinese presence all across this island, this country. Is the United States late to the game here? And should Tongan citizens expect the U.S. government to be able to match China's presence?
I'll start off. With regards to our debt to China, we've started this year to actually start paying off our debt to China. We don't have any problems or concerns with regards to that. I'll pass to the Secretary the rest of the questions.
Michael, on first part of the question, we have no objection to the investments by or engagements by any other country, including China. On the contrary, if it's done in a productive way, if it really is responsive to the needs of people, if it helps generate a race to the top with others wanting to help, that's a good thing. I think the concerns that we've had really go to a few things that I think we've seen across the board in some of the investments. And the imperative of making sure that they're done transparently, according to the rule of law, with sustainable financing, alluded to the debt situation of some countries, and with respect for the autonomy of aid recipients, so that there aren't political strings attached to any investments that are being made. And again, I think one of the things that we've seen is that as China's engagement in the region has grown, there has been some, from our perspective, increasingly problematic behavior, including at the same time the assertion of unlawful maritime claims, something that I raised extensively when I was in China, the militarization of disputed features, for example, in the South China Seas, some predatory economic activities, and also investments that are done in a way that can actually undermine good governance and promote corruption. So it's not the fact of, it's the nature of that we think is important to focus on. But countries make their sovereign decisions about with whom they want to do business or seek investment or assistance. We respect those sovereign decisions. But again, we're concerned about some of the implications in the way that some of this investment is done. And I would hope that whether it's China or anyone else, that we all do this according to the highest. As I said, we have a race to the top, not a race to the bottom.